Good morning, dear children. Today, let us discuss another poem. The name of the poem is The Trees, written by Adrienne Rich. She was an American poet, essayist, and feminist. She was also one of the most influential poets of the second half of the 20th century. The central idea or the central theme of the poem is conflict between man and nature. As development takes place, human beings use up nature and all its resources for his own benefits by causing a lot of harm to it. He has forgotten the importance of nature. So, if this continues, the nature will one day revolt. So, we have to protect our nature and take care of all the plants and trees around us. So, let's look at the poem stanza wise. The trees inside are moving out into the forest that was empty all these days, where no bird could sit, no insect hide, no sun bury its feet in shadow. The forest that was empty all these nights will be full of trees by morning. In the stanza, the poet is saying that man has been using trees for decorating his house. So, there are different kinds of plants and trees that are used for decoration in his house and around his house. So, the poet says that the trees inside are moving out into the forest. So, at one point, all the trees would be fed up. They don't want to stay inside and they want to go to their own space, which means the forest. So, the trees inside are moving out into the forest. So, all the trees and plants that are kept inside the house are running out into the forest. The forest that was empty all these days. Now, why is the forest empty? Because man has been using up all the plants and trees for his own various purposes. So, all these plants and trees are moving out into the forest. The forest that was empty all these days, where no bird could sit, no insect hide, no sun bury its feet in shadow, the forest that was empty all these nights will be full of trees by morning. She says that the forest was empty because there are no trees. Since there are no trees, there are no birds and there are no insects, and the birds could build no nest on it. And there are no insects also on the trees. And no sun bury its feet in shadow, which means the sunlight cannot also hide under the shadow of trees. The forest that was empty all these nights will be full of trees by morning. So, the poet says that as the trees move out of all these houses, by morning the forest will be full of all these trees and plants. Clear? Okay, now we'll move on to the next stanza. All night the roots work to disengage themselves from the cracks in the veranda floor. The leaves strain toward the glass, small twigs stiff with exertion. Long cramped boughs shuffling under the roof like newly discharged patients, half-dazed, moving to the clinic doors. So, it looks like the trees and roots are working silently at night because they want to complete the mission. What is the mission? The mission is to get free from the boundaries of the house. So, they work all nights silently. They want to move through the cracks that are on the veranda floor. They also work all nights very silently because they somehow want to make themselves free. So, the leaves on the trees are also trying hard. They put a lot of pressure on the glass. So that they could break the glass and get out from the house. The small twigs. Twigs means the topmost part of the branches. They have become stiff because they are applying a lot of pressure on themselves and they are trying to free themselves from that space. The larger branches of boughs have also shrunk because they are inside the four walls of the house and they have no space to grow properly. So they are also trying to run out of the house. They try to move slowly from there and they look like newly discharged patients because they are big enough and they are quite heavy, and so they are trying to pull themselves out of the house and free themselves. So these larger parts of the branches of the boughs that are trying hard to pull themselves out of the house are looking like newly discharged patients for getting out towards the clinic doors. Clear? Now let's look at stanza 3. I sit inside, doors open to the veranda, writing long letters, in which I scarcely mention the departure of the forest from the house. The night is fresh, the whole moon shines in a sky still open, the smell of leaves and lichen still reaches like a voice into the rooms. The speaker or the narrator or the poet herself is telling that she is sitting inside her house with the doors open towards the veranda, and what is she doing? She is writing long letters. She also says that I scarcely mention the departure of the forest from the house. So she is not mentioning anything about the trees moving away from her house into the forest, and she says that the night is fresh. The night is fresh and it is still night, and she is saying that she can see the moon shining up in the open sky. She says that she can smell the leaves and the lichens because the trees and plants, whatever is there inside, they are moving out. So as they are moving out, she can get the smell of these plants and trees. Here the word lichen. Lichen is nothing but small plants that grows on rocks or cracks on the floor. So lichen is a small plant. It is small plant that grows on rocks or cracks on the floor. So as they are moving, she says that she is able to get the voice of the movement of these leaves and lichens. Clear? Now we'll move on to the next stanza. My head is full of whispers which tomorrow will be silent. Listen, the glass is breaking. The trees are stumbling forward into the night. Winds rush to meet them. The moon is broken like a mirror. Its pieces flash now in the crown of the tallest oak. Now the speaker says that her head is full of whispers. Whispers means low murmuring sounds. And these sounds are because of the movement of the trees, plants and lichens from her house to the forest. She says that which will be silent by tomorrow. Which tomorrow will be silent. That means which will be silent by tomorrow. So as these plants and trees move out today, tomorrow everything will be silent. There will be no noise at all. Listen, the glass is breaking. Then she says that she can hear the sound of the glass breaking because the plants and trees are trying very hard. They are putting a lot of effort and pressure, and the glass breaks. And they finally move out of the house. So she wants us to listen to the sound of the glass. Listen, the glass is breaking. So the poet wants us to listen to the sound of the glass which is made by these escaping plants and trees. The trees are stumbling forward into the night. Now, as the trees move together, they may be one upon another and they stumbling each other. So, they are all falling down and at the same time trying to escape. The trees are stumbling forward into the night. Maybe because there is darkness and they are trying to move fast. They are stumbling over each other and falling one on top of another during the rush. Winds rush to meet them, so that at the same time there is strong winds also that is rushing over, blowing towards them. The moon is broken like a mirror. So she can see through the night that the moon is looking like a broken mirror, because these trees, once they rush out of the house and when they are free, they are able to stand straight and tall. So when she looks at the moon through these branches, because of the leaves and branches that come in between, the moon is looking like a broken mirror. Its pieces flash now in the crown of the tallest oak. So, through these oak trees that are standing tall and straight, she can look at the moon and the moon. So, through these trees, oak trees, she can look at the moon and the moon is looking like a broken mirror. Clear? I hope you understood the poem. Now, let's look some of the poetic devices. The first one is simile. Like newly discharged patient. This is the first simile. Here, it is there in the second stanza, 7th line. Okay, so the trees are here. The trees are moving ahead like newly discharged patients. Okay, so here movement of the trees are compared to the discharged patients. So here we can say it's a simile. Second simile is still reaches like a voice into the rooms. Third stanza, last line. So she is comparing the sound of the plants, trees and leaves made like voices that she can hear, that is coming from the moon. Clear? And the third one, the moon is broken like a mirror. Here the poet comparing the moon to that of a broken mirror. Clear? So, and these are the three similes from this poem. And there is no rhyme scheme. The poem is written in free verse. I hope you understood the whole part of the poetry. If you have any doubt, feel free to ask your doubts. And I will be sending notes to you. Please copy down the question answers in your notebook. Thank you.